This brand new research by Gallup says American trust in the mass media is at its lowest point since 2016 and near a record low overall.
Jeff Zucker has announced his immediate resignation as the president of CNN. This comes amid an investigation into what Jeff Zucker calls a consensual relationship.
What happened and where CNN goes from here?
You were caught masturbating on camera. You since then have been on leave from CNN. Do I have all that right?
You got it all right. Sad to say.
The biggest media story this weekend, it's the firing of Chris Cuomo from this network, CNN. Late Wednesday, a lawyer contacted CNN with a sexual misconduct complaint about Cuomo.
Joining me now, the man who accused Don Lemon of sexual assault. His accuser claims Lemon started rubbing himself.
But the even bigger point, I think, is about what the press is. Is it produced by reporters or by repeaters? Repeaters are the talk radio shouters. They're on TV and radio telling the same story every day. President Trump.
President Trump.
President Trump. Trump.
Trump.
Trump.
Trump.
Trump.
Trump.
Trump.
Trump.
Trump.
Trump.
Trump.
Donald Trump.
Donald Trump.
Telling the same story every day.
Repeaters are Twitter trolls who anonymously amplify propaganda and try to wear the rest of us down with their repetition.
January 6th.
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 Repetition.
The January 6th insurrection.
The insurrection. The insurrection.
The insurrection.
The insurrection. The insurrection.
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 Repetition. Repetition.
Repetition.
So much of what they are repeating is from reporters, from the people paid to figure out what is true.
A widely held conspiracy theory that the coronavirus was created in a Chinese laboratory.
Dr. Fauci, thank you for keeping it straight. Thank you for fighting the good fight.
We know the science. We know that masks work.
What we have now is a pandemic of the unvaccinated.
This is really now a pandemic of the unvaccinated.
This is now a pandemic of the unvaccinated.
This is now a pandemic of the unvaccinated.
This is now a pandemic of the unvaccinated.
Much of the dossier has been corroborated.
What does Putin have on Trump? Has Trump been compromised?
But it does look like that young man to me is taunting the Native American Vietnam vet, and he's in his face.
There is no evidence of any wrongdoing by either Hunter or Joe Biden.
There's no evidence of wrongdoing by either Joe or Hunter Biden.
What you're seeing behind me is one of multiple locations that have been burning in Kenosha.
But this isn't about ideology.
The biggest terror threat in this country comes from radicals on the far right, primarily white men.
As a white woman, aware of my own privilege in this country, I am so angry, and I can't even begin.
Now, too many see the protests as the problem. No, the problem is what forced your fellow citizens to take to the streets.
A few moments later.
We're here inside CNN Center. We just threw something on fire, Chris. Something's on fire!
Nick, you all right?
We're getting out of here, Chris.
All right.
We are not fake news. We are real news.
And now the two faces of Hillary Clinton are coming out. The fact, through WikiLeaks, that she says one thing and...
Oh, no. All right, let's see if we can get Congressman Collins back. Obviously, we just lost the satellite feed. That sucks.
Routinely at these rallies, we are hearing chants of CNN sucks.
This is CNN, the most trusted name in
It was a quiet, dark night in an empty street somewhere in London City. Jenny walked alone, she was dragging her feet. She was heading back home to sleep. Well, she knew this town, she knew this floor, because she walked it about 1,000 times before she wanted to escape. Can you blame Well, on the very same night, in a different place, there was this hooded young youth by the name of James. He was 14 years old and out of his brain, he'd been smoking ganja with the boys. James, he grew up to be a kid of the street. His mates called him Screech, he was quick on his feet. He was a liar, a thief. At 14 years old, the devil had set his sights on his soul. As Jenny walked home all alone, she felt scared. Usually she was alright, but it was like there was something in the air. A divine intervention telling her to beware. Maybe intuition bogging her and making her so scared. Sirens sound in the distance to the beat of Jenny's feet. A symphony of the night that echoes crime on London streets. Jenny turns a corner, their eyes they meet. Our poor girl Jenny, a boy named Screech. Give me all your money, bitch, give it to me. If you cooperate, then you'll soon be free. I want your purse, your phone, don't fucking look at me. I mean it, bitch, are you listening to me? Jenny freezes statue like a...
This man's storytelling is absolutely fucking, excuse my language, mind-blowing. It's not just the fact that he's so poignant at how he puts everything together. It's the fact that how he delivers it. It's the conviction. It's not, there's no use actually putting something together like when you're storytelling and then delivering it in a way that's not going to captivate someone. What he does is he takes the delivery into consideration when he writes his pieces. And then when he delivers it with so much conviction that he actually draws you into the story, right? You don't want to pause. You don't want to stop, right? Anyway. Carry on, man. Let's go.
A lady shakes stalactite, feel like liquid nitrogen in the dark night. She tried to find strength to move, but stayed as still as a statue in high-heeled shoes. What the hell you playing at? You playing games with me? I swear to fucking God, I'll slice the rosy off your cheeks. You think I don't mean it, girl? You don't know me. The last thing you see will be a boy code. Screech reached with the sheath of the blade, with the teeth that could bite through steel and slice concrete, and he swung possessed with the devil in his...
The play on that, reach for the screech and the I can't even, I mean, the guy wrote the fucking thing, I can't even remember the damn thing, and he just said it. But it's just brilliant with the blade, with the that whole scheme, that whole schematic where you go, it's like fucking almost like a snare drum, the way he did it, but like slowly. He really wants to hit it home.
With the teeth that could bite through steel and slice concrete, and he swung possessed with the devil in his chest, and the statue she was turned to butter in her breath.
Wow. His description.
It was the quiet dark night in an empty street somewhere in London City. Jenny lay still on the cold concrete. She's found somewhere to sleep. Well, she knew this town, she knew this floor, 'cause she'd walked it about 1,000 times before. I guess that she escaped. It's such a shame.
Okay, so I'm assuming that that's part one of the story. So I think he's talking more about Jenny over there, walking through the streets of London, going down a dark alley, what I would assume is the streets of London. Going a dark alley, she can sense that there's some danger in the air. It's like, you know, you almost have that sixth sense where you just feel uneasy. And then this Screech kid comes, obviously. He was probably, you know, the thing is that what he's trying to highlight over here is basically like the darker side of the streets in London, and I think there's more to the story just knowing Ren, essentially. Obviously there's 3 parts to this, but I think he's just talking about Jenny right now. But I'm not entirely sure what the tie-in is, but I think the story is the darker side of the youth and why the youth find themselves in these positions, right? But anyway, let's just carry on. But I like the way, just before I carry on, I like the way he actually said about how Jenny went to sleep, right? And then he ended off with, it's such a shame. But it's just such a clinical, cleansing way of saying that her life was taken from her, right? And that's a tragedy. And the way he ended that, but the way he even plays with the strings on that, in terms of how he draws you into that story, is unbelievable. Let's carry on. I love that this is all done on guitar. I'm assuming this is Screech. part now. Jenny and Screech, it must make sense. Oh, this is the best instruments in the world, I'm telling you. I love the way he's filming this all in back alleys. It's very, very clever. Typical of Ren.
Our story, it starts right at the end. At the life of poor Jenny, clocked out like Big Ben. This.
Bah! Oh my god! The life of Jenny clocked out like Big Ben? What? What? Bro! Bah! Jeez!
Jenny, clocked out like Big Ben. This Screech, dear boy.
Sorry, I know I'm pausing. I apologize. I will take it back. I'm going to try not to pause them out. I like the way that he used that analogy where it's clocked out like Big Ben, right? The fact that he used Big Ben was brilliant. Big Ben obviously is the big clock, but I like the fact that he plays her up to be this beautiful attraction. Like he really, I don't think a lot of people see into that lyric in terms of like why Big Ben. Right, I know that it fits into the actual scheme of things, but Big Ben being like such a big attraction, or what could have been a big attraction, but her big attraction clocked out. You know, there was so much more to her that people could have appreciated, much like the awe of Big Ben, but she clocked out before then. I think it's brilliant the way he wrote that, because he really is giving her life credence, essentially. I love that. Beautiful way to write. Let's go.
Ben, this Screech, dear boy, where did he go? He melted into the black night just like snow.
Oh, wow. Melted into the night.
Patrick, man, let me in, please open the door. I think I fucked up, Patrick, really fucked up, man, I'm not sure. I got crazy, left this lady lying still on the floor. I think I killed her, Patrick, come on, man, I can't knock no more. But Screech kept on knocking till his knuckles became sore. But there's no sign of Patrick down at number 54. No refuge for our villain, for the bitter hands of fate, with something far more sinister in mind that does away.
The breathing. I'm getting like goosebumps as he's doing this. This is insane.
Hey, babe, you in? Nah, nothing really. I'm just a bit tired. Listen, can I swing around yours for a few moments? I just really miss you, babe. What the fuck do you mean you're busy? You fucking bitch! For fuck's sakes! Siren.
I like the way he plays into the consciousness of this. Because, and I like the fact that he plays into the guilty consciousness of this. And he ties in consciousness here, where it's like there was a consciousness about the streets that Jenny was walking in. She knew where she was walking in. There was a semblance of uneasy, but was a semblance of an uneasy feeling in the streets because she just knows how the streets are. So the way he ties in the reality of both the victim and the criminal here, right, is that these streets are actually hard for both sides, essentially. So he's drawing like a human connection over here, specifically with like Screech, where Screech like does this, and the reason he's done this isn't because of this is something he likes to do or he's a bad person. It's just what he's been taught. It's how he's grown up. It's all he's seen. Right? Because that's why people go into these things. They haven't seen anything more than this. They grew up in a life that's abusive. They grew up in a life that their families, or if their fathers, their fathers aren't at home, and then they seek refuge in like gangs and stuff like that, right? And they go down really, really dark alleys, essentially. And I like the way that he plays that darkness into the darkness of the alleys, and then within those alleys is a consciousness of danger and a consciousness of guilt and a consciousness of, for both parties, right? Both parties have seen some really devastating things, because if Jenny wasn't in, if Jenny was more privileged, she wouldn't be in that situation. She wouldn't be needing to walk down the streets in those dark alleys, right? Because she'd have a stable family and things like that, and she wouldn't put herself in those, she wouldn't need to put herself in those dangerous situations to get home, because she'd have a lot more resources available to her. And then the same thing with Screech. Also had no resources available to him, right? Which he turned to the dark side. So that same story shares kind of like a continuity of like both people not having resources, essentially, that could have made their lives better, which they could have taken better avenues. Then the difference here is one is innocent and one is guilty, right? Which I think is a really nice way to tie in the darkness of the streets, or of London, essentially, or anywhere in the world. It could be New York, it could be South Africa, Johannesburg, it doesn't matter. A lot of those dark streets have a big story to tell for a lot of innocent people, and a lot of people who could have taken different routes but took the wrong routes, essentially. I think that's what I'm trying to say. I'm not entirely sure if I'm being coherent about that, but anyway, carry on.
Siren sounds approaching like a banshee in the night. The shrill cry of justice cutting like the sharpest knife. But Screech was never one to run, not one to miss a fight. One hand upon his blade, he turned to face the blue lights. Come on then, you fucking cunts, let's fucking have you then. I am Screech, I'm the boss, I'm the ender of men. You think that uniform you're wearing means that you own these streets? These are my fucking streets, and they call me fucking Screech. Richard was an officer who stood at 6'3", working London on the night shift. What he didn't think he'd see was a boy running at him like an animal possessed. With no time to hesitate, he fired 4 bullets at Screech's chest.
Fuck, this man's storytelling is absolutely insanity.
Our story, it ends right at the start. Young Screech and poor Jenny lying one street apart. An officer shaken by the boy that he claimed. 2 bodies lay lifeless, and it's such a shame.
Okay, so there is basically where he highlights again. I think it's basically what I said over there. I love the fact that he's ending the segment. I see there's like a break there. I don't know what part we're going into now. Maybe it's like a conclusion, or he talks about, I don't know. Let's see. But I like the fact where he says the 2 bodies in the same streets, essentially. So it's the tragedy of the street. Like, death's a tragedy either way, right? No one's born bad. They're taught to be bad. The environment shapes them. They get indoctrinated into certain things, and they go down different paths and difficult paths. And if the guardrails are taken off in their life and they sort of wander off into their birth, you don't know what they're going to encounter. And some people aren't able to have the wherewithal or the introspection into their lives to realize that they're going deeper and deeper into that dark space, and they find themselves in the tragedy of the dark streets that have seen this kind of thing many a times before. All right, and the way he plays that is that, he kind of like sums that up as if the death in society, most people would be like, it's good that the officer shot Screech 4 times, put 4 bullets in his chest, he deserves it. While he deserves that, there's still a tragedy there. There's a tragedy there as to why a young man ever had to go down that route, right? So he ties in the 2 tragedies, right? And Jenny being the innocent person, Screech being the guilty person, but yet, while they lie bleeding out in the streets, it's still a tragedy that they all share. The blood is almost the same, right? These streets are painted red with innocent or guilty. It makes no difference. At the end of the day, all these streets can account for is the tragedy of youth, right? That are not being looked after and brought up in a way that, can make them sort of either get out of dark situations where they're stuck in dark situations in dark places, right? And then on the other side of that coin is that they become the darkness, like Screech, essentially, which I think is very, very cool. I don't know where it goes from here, but let's go.
It's
seems
such
like
a
there's still a lot.
shame.
Brilliant, man. His storytelling is absolutely insanity. I don't know what. That sounds like the story. He summed up the story. Violet's tale. Who's Violet now? I love these things with the guitar, man. Oh, this guitar. Guitar is something else, eh? I love guitar. This man is brilliant, man.
London City, far from pretty, 2005. A lady down in Paddington is fighting just to stay alive. Rhythmic beeps and bloodstains, she saw a lady weep. She's tired and frail. To set the scene, we must rewind the hands of time for Violet's tale.
Why isn't it Jenny, Screech, and Violet? I love the way it's just every breath, every silence is so well put together.
Violet was a silent girl, grew up with violent starts. Her mother was a drinker and her father was a bastard. Every night he took her tie but never left the room. I'll spare you of the things he did, I'm sure her mother knew. Violet was a silent girl, she moved out at 16. A semi-detached council flat, paid for by a welfare scheme. Packing shelves at Tesco, stacking jars like pickled bricks. She met a boy named Stevie and he was a little prick. Violet was a silent girl and Violet she fell fast. See, Stevie was a wrong un, but he sure knew how to charm her. Every night he took her tie but never left the room. History repeats itself, he'd paint her black and blue and dark. She never stood a...
He'd paint her black and blue. You see, this is where, this is where he's painting the picture. Okay, this is clever because he's now, well, like I told you before, like where Screech came from, right? He's telling you now, I didn't think he was going to go this way, but obviously it's Ren, he's going to go this way. He's actually painting the picture of where, like, of how people go into those dark spaces, like Screech, how people land up in those situations, how children land up in those situations. Is because what they see at home, right? The tragedy of their lifestyle in their homes, essentially. What I don't understand is that why would he be painting it? Why would he painting? He's not painting like this. It's Violet now. So I almost thought that maybe he would, like, if it would make sense if it would tie. It would make sense if this was like Screech, like if this was he was talking about Screech over here. But now what I don't understand is who Violet is. Because he's basically saying that Violet was the person. What is it? See, Violet is the person that now gets abused. But then wouldn't that make Jenny though? I'm trying to understand because he's talking now about a girl, a female girl, and I'm like, okay, so then where does Screech come into this? Okay, wait.
Your welfare scheme, packing shelves at Tesco, stacking jars like pickled bricks. She met a boy named Stevie and he was a little prick. Violet was a silent girl and Violet she fell fast. See, Stevie was the wrong one, but he sure knew how to charm her. Every night he took her tight but never left the room. History repeats itself, he'd paint her black and blue and dark.
Because that's where they
She never stood a chance. The devil comes to dance. Violet, why are you always so quiet? On her bedroom door and he's irate. He's been drinking and smoking, he's up late. And he stands by her bedside, she shakes.
See, he's painting a picture of where a lot of these kids come from, like the lifestyles they see, right? In the sort of poorer communities. The communities that don't have much, that politicians don't really give a fuck about, right? To give them any sort of real resources. They like just the panda bullshit taglines. But he's telling the story about where they come from. This might be ludicrous. Was Screech her child? Because that's all that Screech knew. Like, he saw his dad do something like this. Screech saw how his dad treated women, and that's where Screech landed up. Like, he landed up being like his father. But there's no tie into Violet even having children here, so I don't know. It just makes sense in terms of like why Screech would do something like that to an innocent girl is because of the life he sees. So he's trying to paint a picture. So was Screech Violet's kid? I don't know.
He's been drinking and smoking, he's up late. And he stands by her bedside, she shakes. But her eyes stay shut. You fucking slut, I know you're up. And he pinches her eyelids and folds them up. Violet, why are you lying to me, Violet? She stays silent, things turn violent. That's the sound of his fists when they fall like a crashing pilot. Hit like hailstones, one to the collarbone, full force, full blown, blood splat, bone crack, knick knack, paddy whack, one to the jaw and the tooth spat, detached fist connects and disconnects a bone. A quick deflect to misdirect the blow, but nonetheless his punches met her throat. Such a mess he's left her bruised and broke. Violet, why you always so silent, Violet? Why you such a little liar, Violet? Do you think I want to do this, Violet? In character, she stays silent. Well, say something, Violet. Silence. Fucking say something, Violet. Silence.
Jesus.
Wait. Say something, Violet. Not one word. She stays quiet. London City, far from pretty, 2005. A lady down in Paddington is fighting just to stay alive. The doctor, in a state of shock, saw something here so very wrong. See, Violet, she was pregnant. Poor Violet, she was 9 months gone. Turn.
Screech was her kid. Or Jenny was her kid. It makes sense if Screech was her kid because... fuck, maybe they were both her fucking kids. She's gone. They save the kids. They stay with the get brought up by the father or social home. Or not by a father at all, he would go to prison. Jesus, I'm shuddering inside. They both go to social homes. They both see hard lives. They come out, one sees the boy, which is, boys are more prone to violence in terms of turning to people that would validate them, join a gang, be part of something, be part of a group. Girl being more submissive, probably try to get her life together. This would fuck my mind, completely fuck my mind, if both kids were Violet's kids, and Screech killed his own sister without even knowing.
If the doctor, in a state of shock, saw something here so very wrong. See, Violet, she was pregnant. Poor Violet, she was 9 months gone. Turning to the doctor, Violet broke her silence and she cried, if I'm to die right here tonight, please let my baby stay alive.
My baby stay alive. She was pregnant with twins. Watch them both be her fucking children. Watch them both be her children.
Cried, if I'm to die right here tonight, please let my baby stay alive. The doctor soon regained composure, called the surgeon to come in. As Violet's world turned to black, the curtains closed, the lights went dim. In London City, far from pretty, 2005, a lady down in Paddington just lost the fight to stay alive. A tragedy or a miracle, it happened on these very streets. Two twins aligned side by side. A girl named Jenny.
Shut the fuck up!
A boy named Screech.
Shut up! You must be... This is ridiculous. Okay, we're done. Oh my god!